Hey everyone, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 69. Hanging out with Rob Hileman today out of Leverage BJJ, located in Cortland, Ohio. He's a Tom Deblass BJJ black belt. We get into some of Rob's background from when he started. Wrestling was a big impact and helped that transition, as well as Rob being a rock star, which not a lot of people know. He traveled the country playing in a nice rock and roll metal band. So we get into that and we get into some awesome, great stuff. Remember, everybody, go out there and support our sponsors as well. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The show is being brought to you by Hoist IV Level Hydration. Everyone, you guys got to check this out. They're an amazing product. Chad and I drink this product, and I will tell you what, it has by far beat every sports drink I personally have ever tried. 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It's half the sugar of traditional. No high fructose corn syrup. No artificial preservatives, sweeteners, or dyes. It's BPA-free, kosher, made in the United States of America, and there are 6 delicious flavors. This stuff is amazing. You guys need to go out there and check it out. LimitLess 10 at checkout for a discount. Check them out. Also, we want to thank our other sponsors, and we ask all you guys to go out there and thank them as well. Magic City Brewing Company, Red Tail Tattoo Company, Kandray Law, M&H Beans, Coffee Supply, Gateway Dental Care, Thomas Webb of DeHoff Realtors. Also, you guys need some fight gear, some Ghees, some stuff to get out there and get you on the mat? Well, you need to go out there and check out Lanky Fight Gear. LimitLess 20 at checkout for a discount. Also, go out and check out the amazing products from Lashley Nutrition. They're amazing products. They can get you protein, creatine, anything you need. Plant-based, great products, great people. Check them out. Also, want to improve your jiu-jitsu? Go out and check out BJJ Foundation. Limitless 25 at checkout for a discount for all kinds of instructionals, DVDs, and great information from the amazing James Klingerman. Check them out. Hey everybody, so with the recent passing of Leandro Lo, we wanted to do a shout out to the amazing people over at BJJ Fanatics have started a donation page, and we're going to have that information in our show notes, and we're going to keep it in there for several weeks because we want people to go out there and support the family and what they're doing as a community for this young man who has tragically been taken from us. We always talk about, people that we care about and love and we have connections to. Well, Chad and I never had the opportunity to meet him or speak to him or have him on the show, but people in our community have been touched by the loss of this young man, and it is vital and important that we all come together for that kind of stuff and support people and support those out there that will miss this person. We will miss this person because I never got an opportunity to talk to him, to learn from him, to be educated, to hear his story. So we were asking all of you out there to go out to the link that's going to be in our show notes. BJJ Fanatics has set this up, and you can donate. Every little bit's going to help this family get things going, start a foundation, do anything you can. So with that, without further ado, guys, go out there and check that out. We appreciate you guys so much. Now sit back and enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope everybody out there is doing well. So we have an amazing guest with us this week, Rob Hileman. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under the amazing Tom Deblass, and he is the owner and lead instructor of Leverage BJJ in Cortland, Ohio. Rob, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
For sure. And you and Chad, you guys kind of know each other a little bit, right? From the history of Ohio.
That's
BJJ.
Yeah, I've been seeing Chad around forever, man. Just at tournaments and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I don't think we've ever had the opportunity to train together, but it's that, it's that mutual respect that you get for people when you see them at tournaments or seminars or, whatever. I saw you on Fight to Win in Cleveland, a couple times. And we've just always said, hey, what's up every time we see each other. So.
For sure, man. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm excited to get to talk to you a little bit more.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fight to Win, a little Who's Number One Sunday night. So that card is stacked. What Rob, what do you think about this card, man?
I have enjoyed everything that they've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're doing a really good job bringing the names in and the fights and stuff like that. Obviously, super excited about Sunday.
Sure. Yeah.
To see those about it again. That's really exciting. So I love it. I love everything about it.
It's phenomenal to put it on a platform. For instance, how long have you been training, Rob?
About 15 years.
About 15 years. So you go back 15 years, like when you first start and you get into it, you're excited and you think what we are seeing now, like Flow, putting that kind of stuff on a platform for people to be able to watch day in and day out, because they can go back and watch reruns and whatever. Yeah. It's amazing. Like Chad and I talk about this all the time. He's like, yeah,
I didn't even imagine anything like this.
No, it's come so far. Yeah, it's come so far. It's really amazing. I mean, from that long ago, I mean, we haven't, and it's relatively recent too, how far.
Sure. Right.
I feel like it just kind of exploded all at once, in the past, even like 5, 6, 7 years, it really, blew up. But yeah, I mean, it's really, they're bringing a lot of good stuff into the spotlight, and it's really entertaining. And, I think, that one of the main things is that people that are not training are starting to see these things and they're getting involved. And, I think that's great too. So
yeah, for when like me and Rob started, we had to dig like on a Share Dog forum or the Underground to try to find the videos of the Underground. The Underground was probably the best, Terry. It was like a forum that just people just posted anything and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it was like you had to go to a seminar to find.
Or you went to a seminar. Yeah.
I remember, before, BJJ Fanatics and all that kind of stuff, it was like, if you wanted that gold, you had to travel and you had to go see these guys, and which was cool. Like I miss those experiences a little bit.
Sure.
Too. I still like to do it, but it's just, it has changed a lot, but I think it's been good,
I was just thinking about that the other day with seminars, and it's not a bad thing either, because there is so many gyms around now. When you would go to a seminar, you'd see people from all gyms.
Yes.
And now I feel like it's almost all your own students when you put on a seminar.
Yeah. I mean, I think it doesn't take anything away, but I mean, I think a lot of people will see like, well, they have this guy coming in, but I can buy his stuff, and sit at my house and watch.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're not concerned about getting the picture or having the experience, you know what I mean? you can do it in your own home.
Yeah.
I do like to attend them and stuff, and I'm not able to as much as I used to be, but every seminar I've ever been to, I remember things from it, and it was an awesome experience. I've got to train with some really cool guys.
Yeah. And it's cool that I guess our gyms can financially support our own students paying for that seminar. That's the awesome part.
Definitely.
The downfall is if you don't compete, you're not meeting those other, like me and you, like we met, doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's what I think.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my little spiel.
No, it's good. It's great because there's lividity to it. I mean, it's true. We talked about it, and technology has changed that greatly. It's brought the our sport. I call it sport, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to a more of a forefront because more eyes can be on it. But it also has taken away from that experience of people going, oh, well, I don't need to go to that seminar because I can go online and watch whatever, versus I'm kind of old school. So I fall into that category where I'm like, man, I kind of want to be there because I need the feel. And I'm not googly over the person being there, but I want to meet them. Like I found some of the greatest people in the world. Every person that I've met, every one of our guests that we've ever had on the show, it's like, wow, this is awesome. Like it's not like I would walk up to the street and be like, hey man, how you doing?
Right.
But now it's like, I'd be like, hey Rob, what's going on, man? Like, how are you? I hope everything's going well, and stuff like that, which in this world, it's a little bit different to me.
Yeah.
When I got into it,
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's interaction wise, there's a lot of seminars that I've been to also too, that have like, you get some really great philosophy and some history concepts. I've been to seminars with guys that have been doing this for 50 years, and you listen to them talk and like, that's really something to hear, stories, and you don't get that kind of stuff with instructionals, so that's, I'm glad that I was able to do those kind of things,
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
15 years. What's the craziest story for you in jiu-jitsu?
Craziest story? Man, I feel like
I gotta put him on a spot. Normally I don't do that.
all the crazy stuff happened early. No, I think I had my ear split in half one time by this guy that came in.
Like in the gym? Like just came in?
Yeah, it was like in the first few months of being open, and I got in that wanted to try a class, and he was I don't know, like if any instructors and stuff can relate. Those first couple of years for me were kind of tough because it's like it's a real weird time as far as who's coming in, and like everyone's trying it, and man, I had a guy that just, he freaked out when we trained, and he ended up like kneeing me in the ear, and it like split my ear in half.
Man.
I had to actually glued it back together. I was thinking I was going to need some kind of stitches, but the guy's like, no, we'll just glue it.
You know? Wow.
That's just an ear. We'll glue it back together.
So he glued my ear back on, and it was all good. I mean,
I'm sure there's a ton.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff. Yeah.
You've surpassed the cauliflower ear. You just went to splitting the ear. I don't do cauliflower. I just cut it in half, you know, to one up this game here. Did you ever have anyone like Dojo Storm or anything?
I did. I had people come in and like, I want to like test me and all that stuff.
Sure. Right.
Like, I'm little, you know, so it's like, nothing is really easy for me. You know what I mean? I might be able to beat a big guy up, but it's going to take a lot of effort. You know, I'm not it's not magic, you know? You know, but I did have guys come in all the time. Like they just wanted to fight and stuff like that. And I've had people bring in coaches and bring in, you know, this guy's a fighter. And I'm just like, well, if he can beat up this blue belt over here, then I'll fight him too. You know, so like, I'll go, you know, but that was pretty early on. And it wasn't a ton of it, you know, just
It's always crazy. Like I hear that a lot, you know, from obviously, you know, gym owners and, you know, academies and whatnot. And it's like, I always want to, I'm like, man, I want to pick the brain on the person that decided to walk through the door. It's like, what area were you like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like I'm going in, and it's like, all right, like I get it. We live in a really crazy society, and it doesn't surprise me. But at the same time, I'm just like, what the heck are you thinking? Like, at what point were you like, yeah, I'm going to go beat this guy up and he's going to shut down his gym? Or
it's going to be over. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just I think Rob hit something on the head there too. Being a smaller guy, you're always constantly trying to prove yourself. I'm 150-ish pounds, but I'm tall. You're what, 135, 140?
I'm like 140. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're constantly, you know, trying to prove yourself and prove your jujitsu, how it works, you know.
You're being jabbed by ignorant people. You know what I mean?
You don't have a choice. I mean, I remember, I think the very first time I ever went to New Jersey and trained with Tom, we all went out to eat after, and we were like, you know, asking him questions, obviously, and things like that. And I was like, you know, what advice do you have, you know, for like a small guy, you know, women or anyone that's like smaller in jiu-jitsu? And he just looked at me and he was like, it's never going to be easy.
Yeah. And he was just honest. And
that was his advice. And it was like, when I started looking at it that way, I started to like almost appreciate it a little more. You guys know, like, there's no, you know, jiu-jitsu is completely, you know, you get out what you put in. It's all hard work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 100%.
But when he said that, it was just like, man, maybe it's obvious, but it's so true. But I think it makes you better for it. You know, when you're smaller, the analyzation and the things that you have to go through to get better. You know, I think it's kind of a blessing, you know, it makes you feel good, you know? So I think it's cool.
Yeah. We have to go around things versus going through them. Right.
Exactly.
Like
for sure, man.
It's that. And I always tell people, like, of course I want my jiu-jitsu to work on all ranks. And as you get to a black belt, you want it to be good.
Of course.
But like when the 200-pound new white belt comes in, that's who I want my jiu-jitsu to work on, really.
Absolutely.
Because I know it's not a fight, we're not punching each other, but if I have to use my jiu-jitsu, it's probably going to be on him, not you.
Yep.
You
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah. Another skilled individual. It's not likely you're going to fight another black belt.
Right.
In the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think and I'm not saying anything bad about big guys or anything like that. I think a big technical practitioner is one of the most dangerous people in the world. You know, if you are a big muscular person and you are a black belt, or you're just a technical jiu-jitsu guy, that's a dangerous guy.
Yeah. I've always said that we were told the biggest lie when we started jiu-jitsu, that size doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. It matters.
It matters. It does, for sure.
I remember, I think Christian Woodmansey even said that one time in a seminar. He was like, and I mean, Rob, obviously you guys are close in size, Christian. And he said that. He was like, look, if strength and size, like, you're being lied to. It's, you know, he would always joke, like, why do you guys have to be so big? Why do they make people this big? Like, you know.
Yeah, so it's work. You could be very, very, very good. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you have the most technical jiu-jitsu ever, but you know, a guy that's big and has a little bit of skill can really give you trouble, you know?
Sure. And this prime example, you watch, IBJJF or anything where absolute divisions, let's say, where you have all ranges of everyone, and you have a super small person and a super big person, and you watch the super small person, dominate, or vice versa, or it's a good match either way. And you go, wow, these guys were both technically sound, and look at this as David versus Goliath type thing.
Right. Yeah.
And along with that, you're getting the athletic freaks come to jiu-jitsu now, like Nicky Rod.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like those, there's just no way around. Like if someone is an athletic freak like that, I mean, they're immediately going to have an upper hand as far as, pace, and energy, and strength, and, and those things, they all matter. They do. And I think that those things are becoming sort of like a secret weapon for the guys at the highest levels. Like I feel like a long time ago, you didn't see the level of like physical sort of conditioning that these guys have now. I think that's becoming a serious factor where it's like, you can't really compete at that high level if you're not doing those kinds of things.
Right.
Where, a lot of, in the past, I thought we saw a lot of like, it was just who was better technically. And now it's like, we're adding that, like NFL, like layer.
Oh, you are.
Like, you're performance, you know what I mean? To jiu-jitsu, and it's creating an interesting dynamic.
For sure. Yeah. Cause if you watch, like me, I'm a video hog, I'll call it, to be polite to myself and everybody out there listening, that over time you watch older videos versus newer videos, and you actually see the athletes progressively, physically change. And you're just like, wow. Yeah. Like guys before, it wasn't that they weren't not physical, but they didn't rely on that visual, like just jacked athletes, this really and technical. And it's fine. It's like you took it to another level. It's like being a professional, like you're saying, like an NFL or a basketball
part of the evolution.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. And it's awesome. Like, it's good for the sport, because I think it gives people an outlet of both ways. Because you also can have, like myself, I'm a hobbyist, man. Like, I'm not going to compete. I'm older. I would like to compete someday, maybe, but I'll cross that bridge if I, ever do. But
it's always there. Yeah.
Right. And versus like someone younger that's like, oh, I need to work out all the time and train in jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. So that's it's definitely a dynamic that wasn't around.
Pushing everything up. It's pushing everything up for sure. It's making everything better.
So, Rob, are you originally from Ohio?
I am. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I live about 20 minutes from where I was born, so I'm not far from like my hometown. Yeah.
Nice. Did you play any sports in high school?
I just wrestled.
Nice. So you did have. So you did wrestle. Okay.
I started wrestling when I was probably like fourth grade or something like that. And then I just wrestled through high school, and, and I did like soccer and stuff like that. I have terrible vision. So like, I never played like football or baseball or basketball.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay, man.
So my dad was like, maybe I'll take him to the YMCA and he could feel and wrestle and like, so that was like kind of how I got into to grappling and stuff like that.
Nice. Did that help? Did your wrestling help, like that transition to go in?
Yeah.
I always ask guys that have a wrestling background.
Yeah, it did. So I took from high school until my mid-20s, I was in a band, and that's just something we could get into as well if you want.
Sure.
That took me in a different direction for a little while. So when I came back to jiu-jitsu and grappling and MMA and stuff like that, I had not wrestled in quite a while. I definitely felt that it helped getting started. You know what I mean? The goals are just so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's kind of hard to untrain some of those things, but it helped me for sure. I'm not by any means a phenomenal wrestler or anything, but I think just that grappling experience, it definitely helped me like enter a little easier, probably.
Sure. Yeah, that basic, like I would agree 100%. Like I wrestled 7th, 8th grade, and so even then I had guys when I started at white belt at East Coast, we would roll and they'd ask me afterwards, did you wrestle? And I'm like 30 years ago, but they're like, we can tell. And I'm like, wow, it's just that natural, like, didn't want to be on my back. I had a great base. I wanted to their back. You know what I mean? Sure. Like that kind of stuff. Not into their back in the right way of jujitsu. Everybody,
I got you.
There is a right way to be on the back. Right. I had no idea what hooks were. I wasn't doing that or anything. I was just like, I got your back now. Well, it doesn't matter.
Right. No, I think anyone that's done any basic wrestling, it's just like you're bringing a stance and knowing that you need to bend your knees and have your wider and just, just basic grappling, stuff that helps, Yeah.
I think more, I don't know, maybe not more, but what we don't talk about with what the wrestler has is that mat awareness and just the aggressiveness to get in there and mix it up.
Absolutely.
You don't care. I mean, you've done that.
Yes, exactly. So, that's not going to, deter you in any way. Like,
no,
you're going to get in there and you're going to fight, and that's worth a lot.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot. Regardless of your pedigree or how long you wrestled, that's worth a lot.
Yeah. I rolled first night, trial night, night. Chad gave me a Ghee and.
Well, then that's how I kind of, again, we've talked about this with guys that have been around jiu-jitsu along. When Rob and I started, you just rolled, like, you didn't say, are you comfortable? Like, no, you're going to roll tonight, And I think with our new people, we kind of like, hey, if you're not comfortable, just watch a little bit and we'll get you in there. Yeah. But if you wrestled, I'm like, go.
I always let those guys jump in because you're going to be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Just tap when it's time to tap.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And again, we have amazing students. I'm sure at Leverage, it's the same thing for you. Like, guys take care of the new people that come in. Like, they're not like beating them up. Maybe back in your guys' time when you started, it wasn't that but they were going to let you know, like, this is real. Versus now, it's not that we don't, but we don't. We're not trying to hurt them either.
I was hurt a lot when I started. That's a product of being smaller too. But I just got smashed every day for so long.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that. And we run our school the same way. I mean, we have a really great group, and when you're new, it's kind of understood that that's you're the atmosphere is helpful. It's not let's make this guy not want to come back.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, there's a business side of it for sure. Now,
it's important to grow your school and to grow your group, and I mean, you want people to enjoy it. It's not everyone is looking for the fight of their life.
Right.
They just want to come in and they want to learn something, they don't want to be killed, so, and that's, I think we have to respect that. That's not, you can't just be killed or be killed all the time.
Right. That's awesome. We used to, and we didn't, it wasn't specifically from us on this show, but, and Rob, I'm sure you can relate to this. We would go, jiu-jitsu is for everyone, but not everyone is for jiu-jitsu. But Tom Deblass had a post a week or so ago, or maybe longer. Everything runs together for me. So, but he was like, if jiu-jitsu isn't for everybody, he had a post. He said, then we're definitely doing something wrong. And I was like, you know what? There's validity to that, because we do want everyone to be able to walk in from the street. I want the 73-year-old grandma that started doing jiu-jitsu, and she's a blue belt now, and there's been a lot of coverage on her and whatnot. It's like, no, I do want that lady there, because I want her to be able to walk out of a store and be like, I'm good. Like, no matter what she can do, or, just feel good about herself and just be into it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that jiu-jitsu does things for everybody that, are beneficial to their lives. And, we want those people to experience what we've experienced, what it's given us, and, the gifts that it's given us, no matter what that is,
Sure.
I think everyone deserves that experience, at least a shot to do it. I think some people that you have come in, they just I've had people come in that have been sometimes could be a detriment to the group. You know what I mean? And they just
for sure
with the atmosphere. And it's like, well, if you're not going to be, part of the program, or if you're not going to be nice to everybody, then it's probably not going to work out. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let one person, spoil a room full of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No bad apples, like type deal.
Yeah. But I do believe that there's everyone can find something with it if you subscribe to the culture and the atmosphere,
Yeah.
So
those people that come in like that, I mean, we've all had those guys that come in and just keep ramping up on, and you got to like take them down a couple notches. They'll figure it out.
Or most of the time.
Or they'll quit. I mean, obviously we don't want that to happen. But I mean, at some point, I've stopped people mid-roll, like, hey man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, let's get this, and then you might have to ramp it up a little bit more. So
I fortunately, I have not had tons of problems over the
Not
years.
a lot. Yeah.
You know, I really just, it's like, I can remember handfuls, you know, that were just, this isn't going to work, you know?
Right.
But really not many at all.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, most of the time it was able to be rectified, or, you know, the person eventually got on board, and, you know, and I'm glad those people did, you know, because now some of the greatest guys at the school or girls at the school, and, you know, so it's cool. It's cool.
That's what makes it cool too. Like, and Rob, you were talking about this, and Chad has implored this in every student at East Coast, that atmosphere. Like, you make that atmosphere to where then they even start realizing that, even if there's someone that comes in like that. And,
yeah. Well,
you know.
It's like, I talked about Todd with this, you know, recently. It's almost like it's an organism, and it's like, when you build it to where there is a culture that's accepted, and it's like, this is the way things are. When things come in from the outside that don't make sense, the organism sort of takes care of it.
It does.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Like your body really fighting an infection. You know what I mean? I really feel that way about it now. And it doesn't, I think that's something that takes time. And it takes a lot of, you know, everyone getting on board, and a consistency with the culture, you know, to get it to that place. But I really do feel like it's become that, you know, and I think that's for me, it's phenomenal. You know, I feel really good about it.
Yeah, I'd be proud. I mean, that's awesome, dude. That there's not enough that can be said about everyone that runs an academy or gym in that fashion. And I think it has to be ran that way, because we want people to come in the door, but we want them to come in the door to stay, not just because there's amazing jujitsu. That's great, as I'll take from my great coach over there, that I tell him all the time that the jujitsu is great at our gyms, at both of us. I'm sure, you know, I have never trained with you, but it's obvious just talking to you. I know this, but then, like, the environment also takes care of that. You know what I mean? But the jujitsu kind of takes care of itself later, but the environment, once we have that, and you build that organism, man, it's like, yeah, man, like, and we're all going to team together. Everyone that's already there, you're kind of like, there's one person that comes in, if they're kind of bad, we're either going to absorb them, they're going to turn out like us, or they're going to go.
Right. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I think it's a good way to develop a place. And I think that provides the most opportunity for the most people, you know?
Sure. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Word of mouth too. Like, people talk, like, and maybe you don't get so many bad people that come in, you know, and obviously everyone out there that's listening, you all know, you guys probably all train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, girls, guys, kids, whatever. We're not talking like there's a lot of bad people out there doing this on the regular basis. We're like in general, like, you know, if you have this,
and I'm not talking even so, like, it's not even terrible incidences, you know. It's
right.
Somebody just had a really bad attitude, and they just couldn't, you know, didn't want to mesh with the crowd, you know.
Right. And a lot of, they don't know what they don't know. You walk in the door, you're just like, I don't know anything, man.
Yeah. Right.
It's me now. Terry doesn't know anything. This old guy over here
never changes.
Right. Never changes. I expect that to be forever. I'm just going to be like, Rob said it never changes. When I'm like 50, I'll be like, see, when Chad's like, see,
when you start acting like you figured it out, it's over.
Yeah.
You know,
that's right. When you hit your black belt, when you got it, did you, I'm sure, obviously some question, you felt a sense of accomplishment like anyone would at every level that they go through. Sure. But I love this, to get people's opinions that are black belts, that say it was new for me. Like, it was a new wipe off my entire board and start over, my mountain, whatever we want to call it, you know?
Yeah. It was funny because when Tom told me he was going to give me my black belt, I sent him back a text, you know, that was like 30 paragraphs long. You know, it's like, well, wait a second here. You know, maybe I should compete a little more at brown belt. I think I should do this. I should do that. You know, and I was like, this whole thing. And then he just texted back, you have no choice. Okay. So, but no, I mean, I definitely felt a sense of accomplishment for sure. But man, I just have never, and I don't think you ever should feel like you're ever anywhere. Like, you never get like there, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I do think in a way it's like starting over. It's like, okay, I'm starting to notice a little bit of improvement, you know? So
sure.
at black belt, I'm starting to notice some improvement. So, but now, you know, what's the rest of it look like? And it's like, I think you do go back, and I think you you kind of start over in a way with a fresh, set of eyes and a different brain and a different mindset,
Sure.
I do. I really think that that's the way it should be treated. It's kind of the next chapter, not necessarily a destination, but the kind of the next segment of your training.
That's awesome for sure.
Yeah,
and that's
getting it was great.
Oh yeah.
Like,
right.
I remember starting and I didn't see a black belt until a certain amount of time. My instructor when I started was a blue belt. His instructor was a purple belt, or a brown belt maybe at the time. And those people walked on water, and so yeah, it felt awesome. And to get it from Tom was really cool too. Did
you have a passion to open up an academy?
Yes, so when I first started to teach, I just taught it at the academy I was training at, and I was only teaching kids, and had some events that went down and ended up just I was kind of floating around, like teaching at this karate school and then this place and things like that. And I started to get a decent little crowd of guys that just, liked learning from me and stuff like that. And to be honest, I found out my first kid was on the way.
Okay.
And I was sort of in between. I was doing a lot of stuff. I was, doing construction and this and that. And I was doing jiu-jitsu and teaching classes. And my wife was kind of like, hey, we need to, what do you want to do? Do you love teaching? Do you want to try to do that? Do you want to do this? And right around that time, I was teaching a guy who was a fireman, and he was like, we did this drill the other day in this warehouse, out in Cortland. And he's like, the place would be perfect, to set up a small gym or whatever. And I was like, man, that's really interesting, and I was like, I think I'm going to try, so I met with the owner of the building, and man, that guy just extended an olive branch to me, man, as far as, helping me out to get started. He really, I owe him a lot. And that was really it, as far as getting started. But I have always really liked teaching people, but I don't think I could say that man, this is what I was going to do. I really, it really just kind of fell into it along the way,
sure.
And I just fell in love with it,
It's because you were meant to do it.
I hope so.
Or you still wouldn't be doing it. Dad knows this. He hears me tell this to people all the time that are like, don't second guess yourself, Rob. Don't and I know you may have not have seen yourself doing it, but honestly, you belong where you are. Cause think about all the people's lives that you've changed, and obviously the people that you've met, along that way. And I always want people to understand and know that there's one thing I could say to people that I just met. It's if you're doing something that's in a positive manner, that you're changing lives, you not only changed a ton of people's lives, you listen to your wife and you said, I'm throwing that out there because I like to say that too. It's important. All three of us have great women in our lives that keep us kind of on the narrative. And it's not always fun. Everybody out there, we know this, but it keeps us on
work.
It's work, right?
No, man, I'm really grateful, and really, really, really grateful to be a part of these people's lives, and to have, be a small piece of it, and to, for someone to come to our school and get something positive out of it, or maybe that shoots them in a different direction in their life, and that it helps them. I mean, that's what it's all about to me, for sure.
And that's what makes jiu-jitsu so amazing, that being around it, and I've been around it long enough, and I'm an analytical type person, so I do a lot of that, obviously, but just seeing people and seeing how their attitudes change, as they come to the academy, the gym, and just see their transformation change early on. And it's you're a different person,
man. Old, man. I mean, that's why I get up in the morning. That's just a wonderful, wonderful thing, to see that kind of stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Especially with younger people. We've got some younger guys in the adult class, like Zach Terry. I don't know, Zach.
Yeah. Yep. Zach.
Just to see in the year and a half or whatever he's been there, just the confidence, you walk a little taller and talk to more people, the eye contact with people,
Oh man.
You can see people believe in themselves.
Priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's priceless. I mean, I think I was actually listening to a different podcast that Todd did the other day, and he talked about believing in people before they believe in themselves.
Yeah. That's so good.
And that, man, it's kind of what Tom had done for me. And it's, you know, we've all, you know, done that for other people in our lives and stuff, but that's a huge thing, you know, for someone to do that for you and for you to pass it on to someone else, you know, and I just love the concept of that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I teach my kids all the time. Like the greatest thing you can ever do in life is to pass something on to somebody else that will project them or change, even if it's just that day.
Yeah.
But just know that that's one seed that you planted and that it could grow and you could just keep going and doing that thing. You know, it's important. And, you know, one thing I found with jujitsu, like I tell people, and I've talked about on the show many times, is like, I found that once I got on the mats, like I found that with the people, like my family, you know, I know it doesn't sound weird to you guys because you're there, you know that. No, outside would be like, what do you mean? You know, like this, like, why would that? And I go, I just can't explain it. Like you have to be at the gym. Like, I hug these people every single day. Like I clap their hands, they were sweaty. It doesn't matter to me. Like I love everyone there. Like I want everyone to succeed, you know? So it's just different for us in that aspect. That's why everyone should train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing.
So I'm going to change the subject a little bit. You got to tell me about this band, man. What kind of music are we talking about?
Oh, like death metal sort of stuff.
Okay.
In the beginning. When I was 16, I started a group of us started a band, and I did that until my mid-20s, and we traveled. Like by the time I was 19, we were traveling the U.S. Consistently.
Nice.
Probably toured the U.S. about 60 times.
Instrument? Did you play an instrument?
Like guitar. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Very cool.
All through Canada. We've been to Europe twice. Toured all the countries in Europe. So that was what I was doing kind of before jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Man, so it was a huge part of my life. Tons of traveling, you know, lots of craziness. And, so we were signed, and, you know, we produced a few albums and things like that. And it was a big deal for me for a long time.
That's very cool. You still play?
I don't play as much as I used to. I have guitars sitting around, you know what I mean? I pick them up here and there, but, you know, all the guys that we've split, you know, since and everything. And, you know, I just play like by myself here and there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
Not like thrashing in the basement anymore.
Those days are over.
Let me turn my amp on anymore.
Should I let you touch that big Marshall stack? Just Marshall stack, turn it all the way up, stand in front.
I still have all my stuff. One day, you know, I'll play more at some point. I think I know it would be cool to play with other people again too.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, that was, you know, we traveled for so long. And then after that was over, you know, that was a hard time in my life. That was my identity. You know, I was,
for sure, man.
You know, 25, 26 years old. You know, I thought that I was going to do that forever. And that's kind of what, you know, brought me to jiu-jitsu. After that in between time, I was, you know, working jobs I hated and, you know, things like that. And, I had always been a martial arts fan. I've always had loved grappling and things like that. My buddy was doing it, and he was like, "Man, you should come try a class," and that was it. You know,
you were hooked.
I was hooked. I mean, I knew I would be because I had wrestled, and I was always a big fan of fighting and MMA and all that kind of stuff. And so that jiu-jitsu kind of saved me. You know, in that regard, when I left the band, you know, I brought some bad habits with me and, you know, things like that. And I just was not really enjoying my life, you know, at that time. And, you know, and jiu-jitsu kind of, you know, put some life back into me, and it gave me some purpose. And, you know, so it definitely saved me.
Yeah. It changes your thinking. It changes that blueprint within your mind of going what I should and shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? Because we've all done it. You know,
it gives you reasons to be healthy too.
It does.
It's like you want to be able to perform and do well. So it's like, I'm not going to go out on Friday night because I want to train well on Saturday, you know, and pretty soon that kind of makes its way into your life, you know, and it's like, well, I want to feel good all the time so that I can get better, you know, and it just sort of Jekyll and Hyde-ed me, you know, like it flipped me completely. And put me on a good path, so.
That's awesome. I'm glad it did. I may have not got to meet you if not. So I'm glad, because that's an important aspect, man.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So that was kind of that. The band was great though. Like we actually just, so it's been nearly, 20 years probably since then. And actually just recently, this company took all of our music that we made, our demos, like all this stuff, and they pressed it on vinyl.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Created this amazing like collection of all of our stuff.
Very cool.
With incredible artwork and just really amazing, like this whole vinyl jacket. And it's like 4 records, and they're all different.
Nice.
Very, very cool. And it was funny because they approached us and they said, we would like to do something for you guys, and we're thinking like, who cares? Like about our music? Like, are you kidding? And they're like, no. He's like, you're very, like, you're one of the most requested. And we're like, okay. So we gave them everything they needed, and they pressed this thing, and it sold out in like under 2 minutes or something.
Oh, wow.
Something crazy. And we actually just received like our copies and stuff recently. And
very cool.
Just really cool way to like memorialize that and have something to.
Yeah, I mean, it gives really lividity to a part of your life that you put into it. So now you have a memento to look at and go, you know what? That's a lot of hard work, man, and a lot of great years, that you learned, man. You grew, like,
for sure,
all that kind of stuff. So you look at that and you're like, hey, look, like this was a point in time in my life where I did that. This is awesome.
No, it was great. It was, really, really cool. So that was cool. It's kind of like a nice way to like close that chapter completely and like have
and it's on vinyl, which is really, really big.
It's such an awesome thing, man. The project was very cool. Yeah.
That's very cool, man. Very cool. I'm glad that happened for you, for sure, because we put time into things in our lives, and sometimes that stuff doesn't have an opportunity to happen. So, sit back. And you could share, like, how many kids you have, if you don't mind me asking.
I have
2 kids. So there you go.
Like, girl and an 8-year-old boy.
There you go. So like they're gonna have, like, it's like, yeah, dad did this like a long time ago. You know what I mean?
I have something to give them instead of like an old beer can.
Right. Oh, and I know what you mean. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's cool for sure.
Chad, he just gives me an old tripod sweep, and I'm like, what the heck? Remember this for the rest of your life.
That sweep will be good forever. I love that sweep
forever.
It's his favorite sweep.
Yeah.
Except it was funny this week. I countered it and against someone in the gym, and they went to do it, and I countered it, and it was hilarious because they bright-eyed looked at me and went, wow, you're, and I go, this is something that, and Rob, another one of our teammates, Jay Stu, and Chad, like, showed me, like, hey, what's the best way to counter this sweep? Like, get the foot off the hip and get down into your stance, bury the foot, the other leg, under, and get that knee out a little bit so they can't delegate, And I was like, I did it, and I just stood there. Like, I stood there and I was like, crap, I did it. Like, I reacted to
now what
the sweep. But then all I kept thinking is, oh, I need to weave. I'm going to weave here. And I weaved, and it was terrible. And then I didn't get the underhook. It worked out. It was fine. But I was more proud the fact that was the first time I did it after weeks of them showing me this weeks ago. Because
those are great moments, man.
I would tend to turn back away so he couldn't sweep me. And then Chad would pull me in. And granted, I'm 70 pounds heavier than Chad. So Chad can maneuver me no problem, and kick out my legs and take my back, which is
those little victories are important.
Yeah, they're not celebrated enough. Somebody might take what Terry did and be like, well, I didn't pass his guard. Yeah, but you stopped that initial move. And I think those small goals are more important than the big ones, because ranks can take 2 to 3 years or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. I was a brown belt for 6 years. I mean, so trying to get your students to have those smaller goals, I think, are really important.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, all those little things stack up, you know what I mean, to make the big things, So it's absolutely, you got to celebrate little things like that. You work hard. You work hard for
you do. And I try to get people like white belt, blue belt, whatever. If your goal coming against one of us, like a black belt, is to tap them, that's not an achievable goal right now.
Right.
Like maybe you don't get scissor swept, you don't get tripod swept.
I stop the thing that you do to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like
all the time,
like something. Yeah. Like, he always chokes me with this. So let's work on stopping that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's work on stopping that. Yeah. And that makes us all better. I didn't listen to the whole interview on Mikey Musumeci was on Rogan. I didn't get to listen to it all, but he talked about how he does not train with other world champions. He only trains with hobbyists. And I think I was telling our guys about that at a noon class the other day on how being a black belt doesn't mean I need other black belts, right? To get better, because I hit that tripod sweep on Terry a lot. Yeah. Now he's defending it, which is going to make me reevaluate how I do my tripod sweep.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we all need to train with different types of people to get better. I mean, there's a lot of guys too. I've sort of recommended, like I would only see them training with like the toughest guys in the room, and why am I not seeing, the progress I want, and it's like, it's only one kind of experience, you're only training with the toughest guys or the guys that are better than you, so you're not tapping people, your submissions aren't working because you're going against the guys that can beat you. And I think it's important to spread yourself out over those different groups, and especially a black belt, like you said, you don't need to deal with black belts. Like any person of any rank can make you think, and can
for sure. Oh yeah.
Can create a new problem for you, and that you have to solve, it's not, black belts aren't magicians, they've just been around the longest.
Right. Yeah. That's what it's funny because we've joked about the drive home, but like no music on, like getting a vehicle, whatever your vehicle is, and you're just like sulking in yourself because you're like, I'm terrible at this, and I've joked before, I've sent many texts to Chad afterwards, like I'm terrible at jiu-jitsu and whatever, and the response always is you should be, because like you've been in it longer than I have, and vice versa. Like I'm an infant, a super infant, still, and I expect to be. And it's always been good because I always then go in perspective, and I tell other white belts in our academy, I'm like, look, man, it's gonna suck, and like just try to get to spots. Don't worry about certain things. Like don't try to tap people, or don't be like, oh, I got to get to that arm bar because that's what we did today. And I'm like, no, maybe you should just get to one spot and go, oh, I got here. And not to worry about that, because it really, it doesn't matter for now. Maybe later it will, but
well, it's harder for some people to accept those things than others too, just depending on your personality and your ego and things like that. Those are all factors in how you deal with with being smashed all the time, or not, nothing ever working, or and it's just if you're an overnight results person, it's going to be tough for you. Yeah. It's you're expecting things to come right away. It's, you guys, it's something that you have to learn, or you're not going to stay. Sure. Your progress is measured in months and years, not 2 weeks, or, and some people, that's hard for some people to it is. Think.
That's why those people aren't doctors either, and PhD people, because let's be honest, man, it's the same. It could be, it's different worlds. I get it. And people can argue with me all they want, but at the end of the day, people quit because it's too hard to do it that long.
It's a grind. Yeah, it is. And it doesn't mean that you have to get destroyed every single day, but it's like, it is a grind, just as far as learning and as far as accepting being terrible.
Right.
And not knowing anything. And it's like the quicker you subscribe to that, the you will progress so much faster.
Yeah.
And you just kind of let go of that kind of stuff, and let just let the technique and the instruction take control, and just kind of go through the motions, and it just comes, it comes.
Yep. Do you think, Rob, that's why we see so many people quit at blue belt? You put in all that time for 2 to 3 years, and then it's, here you go. It's going to be another 2 to 3 years or whatever.
I do. Well, I think also too, it's like you get that color around your waist, and you think you have an expectation of yourself that you're going to be something now, that's whatever. And then a white belt, kicks your ass, and you're it's like, no, man, like I definitely think that. I think if most people can make it to purple, they stay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I see very few purple and browns leaving.
Yeah.
I really don't. I haven't seen a lot of that. But
yeah.
I do. I think that I remember getting my blue belt, and I remember going to class like for the first time after and just getting my ass kicked. And I was like, I did feel some kind of way about it. I was just like, I thought I was a blue belt now. like from that day to the next, because I put a belt on.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, this is whatever, and you got to get on board. But I do. Yeah. I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah, that's good perspective for sure. Definitely. And I mean, Chad, you've told me forever, like, it's always kind of been that way. And, I picked Chad's brain obviously with a lot of things, but like that, it's like, I've always wondered that too with blue belts. Like, why do you quit? Like, you've already put so much time in, like, why quit now? But I see your side too, Rob, like saying, when they get to purple, then it's different. It's a little bit different because then they're like, oh, well, I've made it to purple now. So I'm like 6 years in or so, maybe 6 or less, but right. And maybe that's what it is.
And I think you're more understanding of the process.
Sure.
I mean, you can get a blue belt in a couple years, you know what I mean? And, or less or whatever, more.
Sure. Right.
But, I think like that blue belt comes with a little bit of weight, cause you're like supposed to be this upper rank guy now, and whatever. And I think people have a hard time like losing, when you got a colored belt on, or you're getting tapped by a lower rank or. For sure. But man, you gotta, I got, you guys too. I'm sure you got killers that are, lower ranks than you guys are. Guys that are just nothing but trouble. And it's going to be a fight every time. Oh yeah. But that's good. That speaks to your school. And it's, it's like, I want everybody that's below, my rank to be better at that rank than I was. That's my goal. Yeah. I want you to be 10 times the white belt I was. I want you to be a better black belt than I am. I mean, I think that's, if you don't want that, then you shouldn't be in charge.
Sure. Right. That's good. Yeah.
I want that for everybody. I want these guys to beat me up. I want to see them. Cause that to me, that tells me that, people's jiu-jitsu is progressing properly, and we're continuing to give these people new tools and stay with, the current, climate of jiu-jitsu and things like that. Sure. All those things are important. So,
yeah.
And I'm sure, Rob, for you and Chad, that probably let's build your confidence that you're teaching jiu-jitsu the right way.
Well, yeah. Right? Yeah. 100%. That's what I was going to say. I remember telling the guys before, like, hey, I want you to tap me. I want you to pass my guard. Yeah. And you kind of get that look like, well, that means we're doing our job, right?
I mean, absolutely. Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what we're doing.
No, I know. And it's like, I do my best. I'm like, I'm not a wizard. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've just been here for a long time, and it's funny because I think, if a guy's like tap black belt or like they do really well against you or something like that, it's like cause for excitement. They're like, oh man, I tapped the black belt or this or that. And it's like, well, yeah, that makes me very proud. You know what I mean? That you're doing that. So, it's
because no one else taught them how to do that. Like you taught them how to do that. Right. So
that's very true. Yes. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. Good way to look at it. Yeah. Like they're getting good instruction and getting good. Yeah. They're learning.
It's the right way. So when you gonna compete again?
I don't know, man. Are you? I might. I mean, okay. I wouldn't rule it out. Sure. I think COVID kind of like when it shut things down, like I was pretty active right before that, and that hurt our school a lot. And I've for sure. Last couple of years, focusing on, rebuilding and, getting things back to a good place. And, I enjoy competing, but I started doing it really late. When I first started, I was really not, the guys that I trained with and the team that I was on, there wasn't any emphasis on competition. There really wasn't, there wasn't a drive to compete. There wasn't a lot of that around.
Sure.
And when I ended up going with Tom, obviously that's what they do,
compete a lot. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
high level
heavy into that. He's got great athletes and he kind of, it's something I always wanted to do, but I didn't feel confident in it. And he helped me with that, he helped me with that confidence and helped me prepare and things like that. But coming into competition as a brown belt for the first time, really, was tough, because it's like you got guys that have been competing since they started training. And here I am at Brown with really no competition experience. Like I had fought MMA before and stuff, but it's very different. So that was tough. But I'm really glad that I did it. Cause I kind of had this collection of really cool experiences, and I always wanted to, as a guy that owned a school, try to compete at a certain level so that I could speak from those experiences.
Right.
And, what I mean? And just something to have, for myself, I really wanted to, and I do enjoy it. I'm by no means like a storied competitor or anything, but I really enjoy what I've done, and I wouldn't rule it out. I would do it again. I just turned 40 in May.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
happy birthday.
I feel
my birthday's in May too.
Than I did when I was 30, to be honest with you. I feel better. I feel stronger. I feel, better. So I definitely rule it out.
Good.
I think we just have to get, you're not going to show up. You're not going to go to a Grappling Industries and say, hey, I'm competing today.
Right.
Because of your rank, your size, like you're going to get that 230-pound black belt. Like,
exactly.
Man, I don't want to do this.
Right.
And, so super fights are a little more intriguing, and that kind of stuff
about Fight to Win. Yeah.
Oh, that. Yes.
Those were so great, because it was like they'd find you a similar opponent, a similar rank, usually similar age, things like that. So that was cool to do that.
Yeah.
And be able to do those. But yeah, like I did some random tournaments and things like that. And it was like, most of the time I got like lumped into a group of like guys that were bigger, some were belts, but they were 250 pounds, like, or I'd be fighting the guy, from my own academy, things like that.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Not as excuses or anything, but, I just came to the game late, and I find it, I'm very focused on my students' progression and their progress. And I wouldn't change it for the world, but I think it's difficult for school owners to prepare for competitions properly.
Yeah.
I've always had a tough time doing both, like giving everything to my students, but then also trying to prepare myself. I have a tough time drawing a line, you know what I mean? And being this guy that prepares for competition and is not, preparing my students.
Sure.
But I would do it again. I really loved it.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for, I don't know if you've seen Dave Beaver out of Columbus is running that Twisted Church series, it's called. So it's kind of like kind of getting a Fight to Win kind of vibe back. So cool. He's running a lot of those events. I had one of my guys competed his last one, and 2 of them are on his next card. So he's doing right now, it's Nogi. Like the next one is ADCC rules.
Okay.
He's doing it's like a 16-man, 155-pound invite. Like Andrew Tackett's on the card.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's pretty, awesome. It's getting bits, and then he's doing super fights with that. So
that's awesome.
He's putting some cool stuff out there.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that are, there are a lot of promotions like popping up that are doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
Yeah. It's all, say what you will. I mean, about Nogi versus Ghee. I'm more of a Ghee guy, especially the older I get. I feel like, it slows it down a little bit more. So I wish we could get some exciting Ghee matches going. I know Nogi is where it's at right now, but I would love to see some high level guys doing Ghee stuff.
Yeah, sure, man. Absolutely. I love both, man. I really do. I really trained exclusively in the Ghee for like the first 7 or 8 years that I trained. And then I got really interested in Ghee and just kind of learning Nogi, learning the leg lock side of it and all that kind of stuff. And but I enjoyed both of them very much, But like with all that being said too, I'm completely happy with watching my students do their thing too.
For sure.
I get a lot of satisfaction from that, and I'm very proud of what our guys have done and what they're, continuing to try to do. And if I never competed again, it would be okay it would be enough for me,
And that's the kind of way, like I look at it for you guys both, is like, you don't have to compete anymore because your jujitsu is being proven in the younger guys that are competing. And that, you know what I mean? Like you're not, it's like, oh, I have to get on the mat and prove myself. I don't have to prove my jujitsu. My students are doing it because I'm giving them legit jujitsu in order to do this. And this is my goal at my academy is to do that.
Like that, man. Yeah.
You know, we love everybody, but you know what? You're going to have good jujitsu, and you're going to do this. You're going to do it the right way.
It's important to us that they do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important. Like I know Chad has spoke of that. That's important to him. Like that's at East Coast. It's like, he wants that jujitsu to be great and everything else is great as well there. But yeah, I'd be like, hey, you got to compete to make sure that this is great. It's like, no, you don't have to, man, because that guy over there, he's going to do it. And everyone's going to be like, oh, well, they learned there. They learned to leverage, BJJ. It's like, well, you know who the teacher is there, who the instructors are. Well, that's why. You know who they were taught from. That's why. You know what I mean? So it's a chain effect of dropping down through, and
it's good to hear that stuff too. Because you don't always hear the good things, right, about your teaching and stuff like that. And the other day, one of our purple belts, Tim Stinson, who's a phenomenal freak athlete and good at jujitsu.
Another
but he came up to me and said, one of the white belts was trying to do something. And he's like, what are you doing? Did Chad teach you that? He's like, no, then don't do it. And I'm not saying that, you know what I mean, but it's good to hear that kind of stuff, that even the upcoming purple belts that are wrecking people are still respectful of what we teach.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to hear that kind of stuff.
That's a great feeling. I mean, I think as we progress into, veteran black belts and professors and coaches and stuff, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that keeps us going, it's not our competitive things or, things like that, or, whatever are those achievements. It's the achievements of our students and the fact that they're, that they, like you're saying, they're kind of, they respect the technique, and they're on board, and that feels good. And it
it's buying into the program. It's coaching a team.
Yeah.
I'm a football coach. I'm a basketball coach, and having a group of guys that are extremely talented, and you see it as a coach, but you got to get them to buy into the program.
Yeah.
And then when they buy into the program, that only is going to make them better.
Yeah.
Then it just perpetuates and it just goes and keeps going. And some of the greatest teams in the world, when they have that great system in place and it's everyone buys into it, then it's good. It's the broken thing, now I'm sure it's very hard. And what Chad's alluding to, like in terms of YouTube, social media, everything, people can go out there and like find all these cool little tricks. And it's like, dude, you need to wait to do that.
Well, you can do that too. I mean,
no, for sure. I mean, there's no secrets anymore. It's all out there.
Right. It's all out there for sure.
And man, it's like, I can't sit here and pretend that everything I show is going to land on everyone.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
So I'm not going to discourage a guy that's, a lot bigger than me from going and looking elsewhere for answers and things like that.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you have a curriculum that you want to implement, but there's so much out there. You can't expect people to not look at anything or
like,
people, you got to let people do their thing. How long have you guys been around, Chad? The Team East Coast, how long has the school been there?
Well, I mean, so the East Coast has been around since 1986.
Wow.
That was started by Steve Hileman, and then, karate is where it started, and he brought some Thai boxing in. And then finally, I would say in 2003 or 4, I started 2004 is when an actual Ghee program was put in for jujitsu.
Okay.
Like when I started, it was Nogi once a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I told this story the other day, when I say Nogi, we might've been doing wall drills off the, it was more Nogi or MMA too,
Okay.
So, there was no, hey, don't neck crank anybody. It was just everything, do it all.
Just going to fight. Yeah.
Do it all. But 2004 is probably when we hit the Ghee scene, and I was teaching as a 2-stripe white belt, cause it's all, I didn't have anybody,
You didn't have blue belts. Yeah.
You didn't have blue belts. And, that's when I tried to get people to compete.
Early.
Yeah.
That's pretty early. No, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Rob, what's your favorite technique?
My favorite technique.
The ones that work.
Right? I
don't have any of those either.
Said it. I wanted to see if he was going to say it, because a lot of guys will say that, like the one that works. Chad always says it.
No, I mean, honestly, like I have to get on board with him there. I'm a triangle fan, head and arm choke. In the Ghee, I love loop choke.
Loop chokes are so great.
Loop choke. Yeah, I'm a fan of the loop choke and the bread cutter for sure.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, those are my favorite submissions. But when I get to do them. when it happens.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm really a fan of everything.
Sure. Right.
I don't really think that I'm, like if you asked a bunch of people about me, if they'd say like, oh, you got to watch out for his da-da-da, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
Okay.
I kind of try to do a little bit of everything. I try upper body, lower body. Like, I don't know if I don't really have like a submission that I always hit on everybody, what I mean? Every time, it's more of a, kind of always experimenting.
If it's there, it's there. And not, you're moving to another position type deal. Okay.
I love grappling. I love the movement, you know what I mean? And I love the scuffle of it,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's something to say about it. I mean, Chad, like, and everyone listening, I'm sure you probably know it too. There's nothing like getting into that grind of that scuffle. That scuffle is there's
flow, man.
Yeah.
It's the flow. You can't, you're in when you're in it, you don't think about anything else. Yep. And I think that's what draws so many people to it. It's just like anything that any kind of thing where you're looking for mastery, it gets your undivided attention, and
it does.
And then these days, it's not common, that we're not distracted or, things
right.
like that, with everything. And I think that Jitsu is one of those things that it commands every part of you when you're doing it. And I think that that's therapeutic. And I think that it's something that we all need. And, it's I think it's sad that when people don't get it. And I mean, people get it through, there's other ways to do that.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But, I think fighting is a whole different layer of that, it keeps you on your toes constantly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And especially for, not trying to single out, women or young people, but for men, there's something to say about that. One of our other black belts, Pete Schock, this week, he mentioned that about like, there's something to say about men doing this. Like they need this, like there's something in us, all of us, and to get into that grind and just get into it, that fight.
Yeah.
There's something therapeutic about it. Like
there's something primal.
There is, yeah,
for sure.
That's a great term. Yeah, great term right there.
That it taps into. I mean, we're all made to do certain things, and at a very basic level, I think it's like fighting, finding food, things like that. It's just there are things that since the beginning of time we have been have been like innate in people, and I think jiu-jitsu helped in any combat sports helps you tap into that.
Yeah,
kind of makes you more human.
Yeah, for me, instantly. I mean, and being a little over 2 years in, like, that brought very fast back to me. I was like, oh, like this is awesome. Yeah, like I missed that, I could never have that anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love seeing that too. When you get like maybe a guy that's really never done anything like this or experienced anything like it. Maybe is middle aged or something like that, comes in and you just after their first like positional training session or roll or whatever, they just light up. It's like, wow, man, like I haven't felt like this in so long, you know what I mean? And and that's priceless stuff too.
We just kind of, Terry and I just kind of experienced that this week. The guy that does both of our tattoos started doing jiu-jitsu with us.
I was going to bring Jason up.
And we've like the last year or two we've been really on him, like, man, you need to start doing this. And he brought his kids in for like our youth karate martial arts classes. And then he he was there every day this week. And you don't want to like, don't burn yourself out.
Right.
But no, I think you need to, we talk about, you got to find your tribe of people outside of, everyday life that you can really just talk to and sweat with. And
the biggest smile like every day. It was like, I love this.
For you guys to see that, like that's, something has turned on inside that guy now, you know what I mean? That's been off for a while probably, and it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That feels great.
For many reasons, mentally, for sure. He's sitting in a chair. I don't know how long he tattoos a day, 10 hours.
Right.
Whatever. Sure. It's not good for you, So at least he's getting up now and getting out and
Yeah. And his body and mind love it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So what's the future hold, man, for Leverage and yourself? Give us some rundown.
Man, I'm always like looking to improve the facility and, things like that. I'm trying to make the experiences the best we possibly can. Sure. Bringing up new instructors and things like that. Man, I just I've never been like attached to certain like goals as far as like with the academy, like as many students as I can or anything like that. I'm really a fan of like organic, slow growth. Yeah, and I'm okay with it. I don't need to have 100 people at once come in. I want to know everybody. You know what I mean? I think that slow growth kind of helps develop, better camaraderie and that kind of stuff. So I'm cool with that. I love the way that the school has grown. We just had like some of our veteran guys get their black belts, so that was really cool. My very first homegrown black belt, like he just got his black belt, so it was like
that's awesome.
That is congratulations, man.
That was
that's
a really
awesome
cool thing. We're coming up on 10 years, so in 2023 will be 10 years. We've been
very cool.
So hopefully do something cool for that. And I have guys that are, we're looking at, some higher level like tournaments and, looking at doing some bigger things, so we're working on that. Just trying to move forward,
I love that, and obviously, before we started the show, that's kind of how we run the show. Like Chad and I want to do it organically. Like we're, do we want people to listen? Sure. Because we want people to listen for the right ways and not just listen because we're a podcast and we're trying to, be up there in the top echelon of people doing this. We want it to be a growth of people understanding and get to hear great stories and understand that people like yourself that have, a smaller guy or whatever someone wants to take from that and build from that. Like you can do it too. Everybody out there, like understand, like don't quit, man. Get other people to come do this too. It could save their life.
Sure.
Like not only from a defensive standpoint, but as Chad said earlier, like a mental, physical, everything.
It turned my life around completely, man. I was miserable when I found jiu-jitsu, truthfully, I mean, I was devastated and I was in a bad state, and it completely turned it around for me, just becoming
awesome. I'm glad.
So yeah,
it's the power of it.
You can do that for anybody. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. Yeah. Great stuff, man. We'll do this, Rob. So we've, taken an hour of your life that you're never getting back.
Oh, it's cool.
I always say that. Tell everyone how to get to you, how they can find the school and all that. It's always in the show notes. Make sure everyone can get to there. Check you guys out in Cortland, Ohio for sure. If you're listening to this, everybody, I want you to forward it and get out there. If you're around that area or someone that's close to there, to get out there and get into Rob's Academy at Leverage in Cortland. And, Rob, go ahead and tell everyone how to get at you on social media and stuff.
So we're just at Leverage BJJ on Instagram. The website's leveragebjjohio.com. Those are probably the best ways to get a hold of us, and Leverage BJJ on Facebook,
right on.
Things. Man, that's pretty much how everybody finds everything.
Good.
Now, right?
Yeah, it does.
So those are the best channels to reach us.
Information highway.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to we'll have to keep in touch, Rob. Get some training in together sometime. And you guys, we got some we have our white and blue belt tournament coming up in September.
Okay.
I can send you some info on that. And then we have our annual cancer awareness seminar coming up. We have Giancarlo doing it this year.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So it'll be,
it's a Nogi. Yeah.
And it's our first Nogi seminar ever. So I'll send you some info. And, but besides that, if we can ever link up and get some training in, that'd be awesome.
I love that, man. Yeah.
How far are we, Chad?
It's probably an hour-ish, right? If I had to guess.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit. Where are you guys at again?
Canton. We're in Canton.
Yeah. Probably an hour or so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Good.
Not too far. Yeah, man.
I live in Canada. I'm just kidding. I know you don't, but
I do for part of the year.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. My wife's family has, she's had property up there for almost 90 years now.
Wow. And, very cool. So fish hunting, you do any outdoor stuff?
So her great grandfather bought an island up there.
Wow.
In 1936 for $400.
Oh my gosh.
And just the coolest story, about, that place. And, sight unseen, bought it, went up, built a fishing camp, and started bringing people up to fish and things.
Oh, nice.
And they've managed to keep it in the family for almost 90 years now. So that's where we go every summer.
Very cool.
Got back, we were up there for 3 weeks. So it's just, it's an amazing place. Yeah.
Yeah. Quiet, I'm sure, kind of relaxing.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
cool.
yeah, man.
Good stuff, man.
For sure.
BJJ retreat. No.
Love to do that someday. We have a dock big enough to put mats on it. You could train out on the water. Like it'll be really fun.
See,
love to do something like that one day.
Plant that seed.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, Rob. Well, thank you, man, for your time. I appreciate you, man.
Sure, dude.
God bless you and your family and everything you're doing, man. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And if you need anything, holler. Keep us posted. Whatever we can do, we try to help out. Cool.
I appreciate you guys very much.
For sure, dude.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Yep, definitely.
You're welcome, brother.
All right, brother. Take care, man. We'll see you. All right.
See you, dude.
All right.
Later.
Bye.